Long before the frozen continent of Antarctica was ever discovered, the freezing waters of the North Atlantic belonged to a true master of the sea. This is the Great Auk, a magnificent, flightless seabird that stood over 2.5 feet tall, completely dominating the northern hemisphere. For millions of years, they thrived in some of the most unforgiving environments on Earth, braving the extreme cold of the Atlantic winters. While they were clumsy and slow on land, their sleek, aerodynamic bodies held a secret. They were not built for the sky. They were built to fly underwater. In the depths, they transformed into apex divers, outmaneuvering their prey with astonishing speed. The Great Auk was the undisputed master of this frozen realm, perfectly adapted to a life mostly spent at sea. Their large, heavy beaks, marked with distinctive white grooves, were specialized tools for hunting. Their thick, dense plumage acted as an impenetrable wetsuit against the freezing Atlantic temperatures. They would swim hundreds of miles offshore, navigating through fields of massive icebergs. During the harsh winters, they could spend months entirely at sea, never touching dry land. They were true survivors, unbothered by the fury of the ocean. But this evolutionary perfection in the water came with a fatal flaw. To breed, they had to return to dry land. Their short, stubby wings, perfect for underwater flight, were absolutely useless for escaping predators on land. Away from the ocean, they were slow, clumsy, and entirely defenseless. Their reproductive cycle was also incredibly fragile. They laid only one single egg a year. They built no nests. The egg simply sat on the bare rock, requiring absolutely safety from the elements and predators. For millennia, their remote, inaccessible island fortresses provided the sanctuary they needed to survive. But that peace would not last. The horizon soon brought a new, unnatural predator. European sailors exploring the treacherous northern waters discovered these remote islands. To the starving crews, these flightless, fearless birds were nothing more than a convenient, endless supply of fresh meat. Having evolved without land predators, the birds simply stood their ground as the men approached. The slaughter was merciless and industrial. They were killed for food, for bait, and later for their valuable feathers. Unable to fly away, millions of birds were eradicated in a matter of decades. By the mid-19th century, millions had been reduced to a mere handful. Driven by the greed of museums and collectors wanting a rare specimen, the bounties on their heads skyrocketed. In 1844, a small crew of hunters landed on Eldey Island, off the coast of Iceland, seeking the very last of their kind. The last pair of great auks were strangled, and their single precious egg was crushed under a heavy boot. In an instant, a majestic lineage that had survived for millions of years was permanently erased from the earth. The Northern Kingdom had finally fallen, entirely silent. Decades later, sailors venturing into the far south of Antarctica encountered a different group of flightless seabirds. Reminded of the giant birds they had eradicated in the north, the sailors gave these new birds the Great Auk's scientific namesake, penguin. The true, original penguin was the Great Auk, a creature whose identity was stolen after its murder. Today, they exist only as fragile skeletons in glass boxes, silent witnesses to human greed. The true, original penguin is nothing more than a ghost and a tragic reminder of our power to destroy, a master of the seas, lost to the fog of time.